I'm Peter Neal, Director of the World Ocean Observatory. World Ocean Explorer is a virtual experience of the full spectrum of the ecological and social realities of the world ocean. It offers access by individuals and organizations, formally and informally, to experience and investigate the multiple layers of implication and application of the world ocean to all aspects of human society. Organized around the principles and goals of ocean literacy, World Ocean Explorer is a new transformational tool for understanding how the ocean works, how it connects us all worldwide, and how it must be protected and sustained as an essential element for the future of human survival. World Ocean Explorer offers an integrated, immersive architecture for ocean experience. Through media, information, and curricular design, the visitor will engage in multiple, distinct perspectives on our ocean environment. World Ocean Explorer is conceived and presented through innovative education, through responsible science, and a unique virtual experience freely accessible to all. The ocean is the value proposition of the future, as the environmental and social system that will provide security and solace for us all.
Hi, I'm Tricia Badger with the World Ocean Observatory.
And I'm Bjorn Grickholm, developer of the World Ocean Explorer Virtual Aquarium and owner and co-director of Visual Solutions Lab.
And today we're here to talk about a project that we've been working on together called World Ocean Explorer. It's a new virtual three-dimensional aquarium and educational environment that we've created for educators to use around the globe.
And it's for free.
Yep, it's an absolutely free platform. All educators need is a good internet connection and a laptop. It runs on Mac, it runs on PC. It's a web-based platform, works best on a Chrome browser. We developed this platform a few years ago. Really, we sort of, the concept sort of it has been evolving over the last few years. And we had the great fortune last year to receive a collaboration a memorandum of understanding with the Schmidt Ocean Institute, and they contracted with us to build the first exhibit of World Ocean Explorer, which is called Deep Sea. And we'll show that one to you in just a little bit. So Deep Sea launched in March of last year, March of 2022. And what you're looking at here is the hub. This is essentially the second full exhibit that's now available on the platform. This was funded by the Seth Sprague Educational and Charitable Organization. And educators and students will enter the World Ocean Explorer from any number of the exhibit portals. Each of them will have their own unique HTML, but every one of the exhibits is accessible here from the hub. So not only does the hub give users access to all the exhibits, the ones that are currently online and the ones that are forthcoming, but it also has, this is where educators will be able to access a lot of curriculum assets. We envision each of these exhibits to have a full compendium of curriculum resources attached to it.
The purpose of the hub is the portal to all other modules that we'll be working on and working on currently and in the future. Essentially, it gives a taste of the different modules. It gives some examples on how to interact with different components, whether they be 3D models, videos, audio recordings. Right here, we're coming across a series of different portals. You saw coastal ecosystems, cultural ocean, water cycle. There'll be a resource center linking to various teaching modules and other resources. Here's an example of some of the video component.
So this is essentially a display, an interactive display. These are sort of throughout the exhibits.
And yeah, just to give the taste to the other world you will be entering through the portals. And here's a sampling of our Earth Ocean Analyzer.
Right, and we'll come back and talk about this a little bit more.
interactive movies, plotting of data. This will be in continued development as the World Ocean Explorer grows. Again, I mentioned 3D models.
Yeah, and these are all throughout. You'll see a bunch of these when we go into the deep sea exhibit.
And some of them are animated, some of them are static.
And I'm just going to pause the video for a second here, Bjorn, and just thinking about this. You know, if we're looking at this whale exhibit here, what we envision, this, we don't have this currently, but we're getting there, is that each of these exhibits, each of these models, every piece of the interactivity of the hub, the deep sea, the water cycle, polar regions, coral reefs, all the exhibits that we intend to bring online will have resources attached to them. So there will be links within for everything that you're seeing here that will link through to NOAA. The Schmidt Ocean Institute has a great resource center. The Ocean School of Dalhousie University has a fantastic resource center. Are there some others, Bjorn, that you can think of?
The Smithsonian.
Great. Yeah, the Smithsonian. So the students will be able to just click. They see this right whale, they'll be able to click through to get more information.
You'll see the little bullseye when you walk around, but anytime that flashes green, it will be an interactive object
that's right,
that the user can interact with.
That's right. Yeah. And another thing for educators to know is that all of the resources that we're linking to within the exhibits will also be available outside of this interactive feature. So educators don't necessarily have to come inside of Explorer. And we're going to come back to talk about this a little bit later too. This is a manned submersible that's going to be a fantastic interactive feature, but we'll come back to talk about this one in a little bit. Educators won't necessarily have to come inside of Explorer to have access to all of the educational resources that will be available. There'll be a separate page on our website that links through to all the curriculum aspects based on theme. So let's go ahead and start this. So this takes you down to the lower level. We're still within the hub. So this lower level, do you want to talk about this a little bit, Bjorn?
Oh, I was just going to say, this is the ocean classroom, which is designed to show the 7 principles of ocean literacy. And each principle has its own video.
IOC, UNESCO.
Video resources here. The user it's not just a straight video that plays. You can pause it, you can come back to it, along with examples of 3D models.
You know, and as we're showing this, you know, this is still, I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a moment. This is still in beta.
Yes.
The hub, we just launched this in
June. Yeah.
So the hub just launched in June. We still have quite a ways to go with this. I mean, our hope, again, if you're looking at like this map projection, this Mercator map projection to the left, that will be a fully interactive feature for students. It may even be part of a sort of a mission-based worksheet that students may have, you know, that they're given the objective to go in and find a sextant.
And that's ultimately where we want students to have fun as they're, you know, acquiring information.
The nice thing about Explorer is that students can anyone really can come in, anyone curious about ocean systems can come in here, wander around. You know, we can't show you this, unfortunately, on this video, but you need just your mouse and your keyboard to look around left and right, up and down, and to move forward and back. So someone could just come in here and wander around. They could click on a few things, read a little bit of information. But all of this will eventually, like I said, click through to curriculum and resources.
Another example of audio recordings.
Yeah, audio recordings, all sorts of mixed media. It's a very, very cool, immersive, and educational environment. We're calling this the Ocean Classroom. It's the educational resource center for the entirety of World Ocean Explorer. There'll be a lot of theme-based resources within the hub based on the various exhibits that we're offering upstairs. This will also link through to curriculum and resources about the 7 principles of ocean literacy. And we also hope in the long term to be able to align each of the themed exhibits with the ocean literacy matrix. That's quite important to us as well.
Oh, and if you notice, it's sped up there, but that's only because you have the ability to run through the environment.
Yeah, right. I mean, we found some adults who use this platform. There's a bit of a learning curve, but any young person that we've put this in front of just gets it immediately.
Yeah, the controls are similar to most first-person game controls that you would play on a laptop.
That's right. Here we have another aspect of the hub. This is something we're calling Ocean Theater. Right now, it consists of 2 films, but we envision this being a vast catalog.
Yeah, and I think it's a great way for a lot of these different institutions, research groups, artists to share some of their content in a unique way through a 3D immersive space.
Right. Yeah, and it's also, very compelling for a lot of different groups to put their work here. So really, as Explorer grows, we would just become this larger network of organizations, of research groups, putting all of this information together into one place.
And all set in this virtual world that is, it's very engaging for, people of all ages. But I think ideally for students, from grade school through college, there's just so many different levels that can be reached.
Now we can take you into the first exhibit. This is the exhibit that we worked on with our collaborators, Schmidt Ocean Institute, and this launched in March of 2022.
So again, each of these different components of World Ocean Explorer is accessible from the hub. So you would just enter these portals and it would open up a separate website that would then load, and then you would have access to both the new component, which shares the deep sea, but also still have access to the hub as well.
So now we're just entering into deep sea. This kind of gives the user a little
reminder. Controls. There's also some help if you need to see a map layout. We're not clicking on it in this video, but that resource is available, so you know where you might go to.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the map is a great feature, especially for educators, because it shows the entirety of the exhibit. And if you click on something, it'll take you right there.
So here we are at the bottom of the deep sea. And again, just like in the hub, when that little marker turns green, it's an interactive object. So the space is filled with these interactive objects, which has a variety of different media content, whether it just be text or video, audio, animations. Now we're coming up to a 3D model provided to us by the Schmidt Ocean Institute. There's Sebastian, which as you click on the other interactive components, you can see, not in this particular example, but video from that rover. So as we go to some of the species that you can interact with, they'll show footage from Sebastian. I mean, it's a lot of stuff to go through here. So, we're giving you a brief overview here, but there's just a tremendous amount of content.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, honestly, students could just come in here and explore with or without a directive.
Yeah, you can spend 5 minutes, you can spend 5 hours.
Yeah. So every one of these, I'm just going to stop here for a moment. So we have 7 tanks discoveries that were made when Schmidt Ocean Institute was in the waters off of Australia, all around Australia.
This one is visioning the coral sea. So each tank has its own category. And we'll be showing you a few as we walk around the exhibit here. But just to show, this is a zoomable, rotatable. You can sort through a variety of species. Again, these are photographs that accompany the 3D model, so you get this interactive component, and you can see the real.
Every one of the species tanks has video, photos, 3D models, and in the very near future, links through to more resources, more curriculum, modules, units.
And, I think what's so fantastic about this is that this is cutting edge, footage coming, from the bottom to the deepest depths of the ocean here. Maybe not the deepest, but very deep. And it's shared in this sort of very interactive, fun way that, you're not just watching a video, you're exploring.
I mean, the siphonophores, a lot. This is a virtual aquarium in that it was envisioned to allow people anywhere in the world that may not even have access to an aquarium to look at species and habitat that you can't see in an aquarium. Here we are looking at a whale fall. I mean, we'll get into this a little bit later. I don't know, Bjorn, if this video shows it.
We call them the 3D interactive environments, essentially trying to put, right now we're in this aquarium space, but, being actually in the water, walking around the whale fall, seeing the species that are there.
Right.
And I think what's so interesting about this technology too, where, we use the Unity game engine to design this, is that it's getting better and better. And of course, browsers are getting updated. So the quality of the models, the speed at which you can engage with it are just increasing, if not year to year, month to month.
Right. So let's talk about that just a little bit, Bjorn. If a student were to use this in the classroom, what would the students need? What would the teachers need?
Well, they would need a more or less a laptop from the last few years. It doesn't have to be brand new, but within the last 5 years, you need access to internet. I mean, you need to have a good quality internet access because we're streaming here videos and high resolution imagery. If you have a slower connection speed, you can still experience it, just might not be as quick as you would like it.
Unity does not run on mobile devices. Is that right, Bjorn?
It's a separate thing. You can export to mobile devices, but there are much more limitations. And ultimately in the future, we could be running this on a mobile device, but so it's possible. But right now, it's only as a WebGL, so meaning that you're playing through your browser.
Right. Okay. And as far as using it on an iPad, that is considered a mobile device. Yeah. So some classrooms their students are using iPad, right?
Yes. It varies from state to state. Right. So that's right now, that is a limitation right now.
Yeah, that is a limitation right now. Yeah. So here, Bjorn, we're looking out on the interactive globe. Should we stop and talk about this, or is there a video that's going to get into this a little more in depth?
I think we're going to play a video a little later that can explain the features of the Earth Ocean Analyzer. So
just know that we're going to come back to this, but that is an interactive globe feature that does a whole bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, so many of these species have never been recorded. And like that siphonophore outside, this helmet jelly, so many interesting species they were able to record during their Australia campaign. We're looking down on a diorama of the Schmidt Ocean Institute research vessel Falkor.
And we will get a closer view of this. That's a representation of, just to give another view of how the submersible leaves the ship. But ultimately, we have, we want to develop these mission-based scenarios with not specifically Sebastian rover, but with the
World Ocean Explorer rover.
But this is just a fun representation of what the submersible Sebastian going down to a hydrothermal vent.
Now, Bjorn, I wonder here if we want to talk a little bit about what we're working on right now.
Yeah, sure. Right now, we are working on developing some teaching modules for interacting with the hydrothermal vent exhibit and the 3D environment. It's fun to explore, but I think for some students, it's definitely going to help with some guided directions. Essentially allowing a student, maybe giving them a series of questions to find out, different aspects of this extreme environment. They'll be all interactive and have a series of other icons to link on and explore through. Anyone watching right now and is thinking, hey, I could totally see this happening, like, please reach out, send us an email.
Absolutely. So as you can see, this is just, a one level down pop-up.
Yeah, and this is an example here of it's from NOAA here, this diagram, but essentially like using this, creating this in an animated interactive style with this accompanying breakdown of what's going on in the hydrothermal vent, chemically speaking. There could be links to outside resources. I mean, obviously we always want to reference the material because, we're not creating, we're just using an open source material, whether it's from NOAA or other research institutions. So you want to give credit. Really, it's amazing what so many different places have done.
Right.
And how many resources are actually out there. And that's why we're hoping to combine everything together in this 3D space. Exciting exploring for students.
So right now we're looking at deep sea. We'll take you back upstairs. We'll take you back outside of deep sea, back to the hub, and we'll show you all of the other themed exhibits that we are working on. All of them will include a curated catalog of resource material. So based on theme, as you can see right now, we're in the deep sea. We're looking at a hydrothermal vent. All the curriculum, all the resources are going to be directed at these deep sea environments. So all the material that we'll be linking to, it's already teacher tested. It's already been vetted. The curriculum will be for students and educators. Our sweet spot we're thinking is grades 5 through 8, but likely we'll have material for grades 5 through 12. It's all already out there on the web. It's teacher tested, it's vetted. All of it's in accordance with the next gen science standards, the ocean literacy principles, and the Common Core state standard for the United States. This becomes more than just, more than just this interactive. What do you think, Bjorn? Do you think it makes sense to head into?
Yeah, you can go to the hydrothermal.
Go to the hydrothermal vent.
So we have the hydrothermal exhibit that you just saw, but again, we have these 3D interactive environments.
And there are three of them.
There are three of them, one of them being the hydrothermal vent. And so you just walk through the doors here and you can begin walking around. And this, again, this is an environment that can be changing, new species can be added, but this gives you the sense of the kind of species that you'll find around the vents, gives you information about them. But I think most importantly, it gives the user sort of a chance to explore, giving that sense of being down there, and the diversity you'll find in these extreme environments. So again, anything that highlights green you can interact with.
Yeah, they're just so, and there's a black smoker there. And again, I'm just going to pause this for a moment. This is part of our curriculum development project. We envision these 3D environments, places where students can come to look for specific species. So while we're still sort of working on the mechanics of how these will come together, we envision that there will be some worksheets that will be specific to these exhibits.
Yeah, it would be like how to understand the food web, like where are the primary producers,
right,
consumers, and understanding that dynamic around the hydrothermal vents.
Right, you're right.
We'll be showing you some other environments.
Should we
can go to Australia?
Okay, let's show you another one. This is another of the 3D environments. This is essentially this just shows a lot of the incredible species that were observed by Schmidt in 2020.
come in here, they have to look
Nautilus.
around, find them. Some species are hiding, some are out in the open.
Yeah.
Some are coming in and out. And again, the great thing about this is that we can just continually add new things.
Yeah.
Make the environment more dynamic. And so this is a variety of different species. Gives you I mean, there are just so many things on the seafloor. So
yeah. So speaking of, Sebastian and the ROV, I think we should take just a quick moment to talk about our ROV. We have our own submersible.
Here we have, and you can just start playing again. And so this is our submersible. Again, this is an interactive display here, but the Triton submersible. And we envision mission-based experiential learning where a student would get into the submersible, dive into a variety of different seascapes, whether it be exploring coral reefs and polar oceans, perhaps investigating an oil spill. So here would be one, looking again with the hydrothermal vents that we saw, as you can walk through, but this would be sort of a real world simulation of, you'd have different instruments aboard.
It differs from the 3D interactive in that you're not just walking around a hydrothermal vent, you're inside of this manned submersible.
Yeah, so that's how you're engaging with the environment, because obviously we're at very high pressures here and also high temperatures, but you have a series of instruments aboard and you can be collecting species, or for here, it'll be doing some water sampling around the vent. And so again, this is a range you could be talking about with your class about how water chemistry, geochemistry of hydrothermal vents. So if you play this as you approach and you navigate, and you have to find your way, find a vent, approach the vent carefully, and then go up and sample it. And I think what's great too is like as you sample the water for different elements or whatever you might be potentially looking for here, that data is collected and can be exported outside of the program. So, the student or the teacher would end up with a text file that you can then use for some spreadsheet exercises, building tables, perhaps ultimately sort of building a scientific report. So you're taking screenshots along the way. This submersible has a camera on it, so you could take pictures, and then you could essentially give the student a virtual expedition so they can see multiple stages of the exploration, sampling, analyzing the data, and finally, putting it in a report that can be read and shared.
So as we said earlier, if 5 through 8 is kind of the target audience for Explorer, this is where we may be reaching high school age students
and beyond. I mean, this would be
and beyond, sure.
Yeah, even in this would be a great activity for a lot of introduction courses and university level as well. It just gives it a lot of the stuff people are reading about, they can actually go do. When
a student approaches that submersible, a menu comes up and they can choose from a variety of locales.
This is an example of some of the measurements that would come up and how you might plot it in your class.
So Bjorn, do you want to talk a little bit about Earth Ocean Analyzer?
Sure. Yeah, so the Earth Ocean Analyzer is basically this globe, this interactive globe that will have a series of either animations of real world data. Here we're looking at surface sea temperature currents. And you can manipulate the globe, zoom in and out, but essentially it'll have a variety of different geospatial data. Here's the other example of the previous version of this, which can you just back that up so we can just see that, that menu option? So in the long run, you're going to have a variety of different variables that you can look at on the globe and manipulate. So right here we have just a list of some of the maps we put on, but they'll be broken down by categories. Whether it can be surface, It could be chemistry, temperature, salinity. It could be plotting of buoys, which I think we have a video of somewhere. Could be hydrothermal vents that have been discovered around the world. Anything that's plottable, you can plot on this globe. Also interaction. So we'll have on the globe, we'll have the locations where you could take the World Ocean Explorer submersible on a mission as well. So you can access that element of World Ocean Explorer through Ocean Analyzer. So here's just an example of available data that's out there and or simulations.
Through that menu that Bjorn was just talking about, users could access a variety of introductory geospatial data sets. They could view animations, simulations, create map overlays, as Bjorn was saying, plot data. Essentially,
access the Explorer missions.
Right. Yeah, view historical and future impacts of sea level rise, changing global temperature, ocean currents, flood frequency, migration of plastics, on and
on. Marine protected areas.
Oh, that's a good one.
Of geospatial data.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a great one. Yeah, you may remember the globe that was in the middle of the room there. What exists on that, the data that exists on that globe right now shows the cruise map data from Schmidt's Australia campaign in 2020, all the various dive spots. One thing I would say that, from everything that we've shown you here, the missions and activities, the things that are available now, the things that are coming, it's all going to appeal to a wide range of age groups. Simple species identification and ocean landscape exploration for younger, middle school students, to more complex data collection and analysis that we talked about, water sampling, hydrothermal vent data collection, that sort of thing for high school students and beyond. We understand that educators are challenged to find high quality content, and many national marine educators that we met when we were down in New Hampshire for the 2019 NMEA conference told us that there are not enough online learning resources and educational interactive, let's say, gaming experience for students. We're inspired by the Games for Good movement. That's really helped us to build upon activity-based experiences, to build awareness and understanding about the ocean, right? There's a need in the educational realm for teaching tools that are free. Let's not forget that this is an absolutely free platform. This is going to match educational standards. We want teachers to be comfortable using and facilitating from this platform. And we hope to continue to be nimble, flexible, and innovative as this platform grows and expands. We hope that you'll visit worldoceanexplorer.org to read more about the ongoing development of Explorer. But we're not creating anything new with World Ocean Explorer. We're just taking a lot of ocean information and we're packing it into this totally innovative way to look at, explore, and learn about the ocean.
Yeah.
And we want it all to be there in one central place. So we are looking for some beta classrooms. If you have any interest in getting involved, please reach out to us. We'd love to get you and your classroom involved.
Yeah.
So one other thing I wanted to show before we go, some future exhibits that we're working on with various collaborators. This shows a sort of a matrix of what we hope Explorer will be. Right now, we have the hub and we have deep sea. We anticipate that the next one coming online will be coral reefs. We're working with a content collaborator and a funder to get that one started, hopefully this year. The next one after that, possibly maritime work, polar regions, water cycle, the cultural ocean, coastal ecosystems, science at sea, environmental impacts.
Well, this is an example of chemistry data taken from an ice core. Part of the ice core records, don't only show information about the specific glacier you take it from, but it gives you a sense of global atmospheric circulation, ocean temperatures. So, the oceans, what's going on in the ocean obviously affects what's going on in the atmosphere, and you can see this sort of coupled relationship. So part of the polar regions focuses on a lot of the data taken from ice core records, along with, again, glacial spatial information, maps, looking at sea ice extent, etc. So again, this is another sort of world to explore, within the ocean realm.
Right, right. And then here's another proposal that we're working on. This one we're calling Maritime Work, and it is more of a retrospective of people at sea, from early seafarers to modern seaports. Again, every one of these exhibits will be linked to a variety of curricular resources. And again, you're looking at a still image because this virtual environment doesn't exist yet. But if it did, you'd be in here walking around. That globe would be interactive. This shipping containers on this cargo ship would be interactive. The last one being the coral reef module, which we're pretty excited about. You see that there are little pop-ups here. So the sea turtle, while they're behind glass, they're still interactive. Click on that and learn about a sea turtle or an anglerfish or manta ray. We could talk about World Ocean Explorer all day. But we should end by just saying thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to show you this project. Bjorn and Peter Neal and the whole World Ocean Observatory team have been working on this. It's been a vision for many years, and to see it now becoming a reality is pretty exciting. So, essentially our main goal is to have a complete immersive experience for students for all aspects of the ocean. I mean, you've seen some of the various themes that we hope to touch on, but really it's as wide and deep and dynamic as the ocean itself. This doesn't substitute the experience of being near the ocean. It doesn't have the physical scale of a real aquarium space, but it costs absolutely nothing to enter. And any user that comes into it is going to leave it more ocean literate. So we're really hoping that we can get World Ocean Explorer into as many classrooms and schools as possible. And that's what we're working on this year. We're launching a marketing campaign in addition to this curriculum aspect that we're working on. So we'll be coming back to you in September, hopefully with some good news about how to get in there and use these curriculum resources. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bjorn.
Thank you, Trish.